Well, we have a pretty full schedule, so I figured we'd get ourselves started here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for our industry update. We have a special guest with us today, and then Zach will be following up with the update. We have Nick Gates here. He's with Teladoc Health. He's going to be sharing some information on how you can give your employees access to affordable health, high-quality health benefits through their Healthiest You Complete Teladoc Virtual Care Bundle. Please, as always, mute your lines. And if you have any questions, use the chat feature for asking questions. And we will get to them at the end of Nick's program and then at the end of Zach's program. I will turn this over to you, Nick.
Great. Thank you so much. As Hope had mentioned, my name is Nick Gates. I'm the manager of sales here at Teladoc Health. Just to confirm, can you see my presentation, Eric or Hope?
Yes, we see it.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. So myself and my director, Andrea Sadler, we manage the strategic partnership that Teladoc has with the National Restaurant Association and their joint venture partner, United Health Group. And our goal of that partnership is to provide affordable, meaningful healthcare access for all hospitality employees. So as a quick overview of my agenda, I'm going to take about 20 minutes of your time this morning, and we'll talk a little bit about Teladoc Health. We'll address the labor shortage and what job seekers are expecting from employers going forward. We'll talk about our Healthiest You Complete Bundle solution, which is the program that we developed specifically for hospitality. I'll do a quick live demo of the mobile app, and then we'll take some time for questions and answers. So to get started, Teladoc Health, we're considered the global leader in virtual care. So we're about 19 years old. We were formed in 2002. In 2015, we became the very first publicly traded telemedicine organization on the New York Stock Exchange. Our ticker symbol is TDOC, and our current valuation is right around $23 billion. We have over 4,000 employees worldwide across 20 different countries. And we have over 40,000 employer clients, and we're privileged to serve over 50% of the Fortune 500. Our current membership count is right around 70 million members. So that's how we have well-deserved the title of global leader in virtual care. So obviously, I'm sure everyone on the call can relate to, the labor shortage that you're experiencing in hospitality. There was actually a survey done by a company called Joblist back in July, and they released a job market report. And they had actually surveyed over 30,000 job seekers over the second quarter. And they had asked a simple question: would you consider hospitality for your next position or your next job? And 60% of those job seekers said that they would not consider hospitality. In fact, 38% of former hospitality employees, so these would be the people that you laid off during the pandemic, or maybe you furloughed or maybe terminated their employment, 38% of those employees don't want to come back to the industry. So what used to be a thriving pool of job seekers that you would be able to pull from, it's now a puddle, and you're actually having to compete with other hospitality employers for talent, not only to obviously attract new talent, but retain the current people that you have and adore and that have helped keep your business running over the last 2 years. So they followed it up with a question of, why aren't you considering hospitality for your next position? And as you can see, top three reasons aren't really that surprising. So a lot of people don't like the work environment. You're not offering them a corner office with a desk and a computer. They're on their feet all day working in hospitality. Obviously, there's a perception that pay is too low within the hospitality space. And where I'm coming in is actually with the lack of benefits. When we look at COVID really changed the perception of what job seekers are looking for. And I think that we can all understand and relate to the fact that having access to healthcare has been top of mind for the last 2 years as we've gone through a pandemic. So if we look at the hospitality industry as a whole, historically, healthcare benefits have not been a focus. When we look at most restaurants and hotels, they have fewer than 50 full-time equivalents, which is that magic number where you have to offer healthcare to your employees. But even if you did, you have a large percentage of variable hour and part-time employees that wouldn't qualify for benefits in the first place. Of course, cost being the biggest concern for employers. It's the second most expensive item to payroll in your monthly expenses. So cost is definitely a huge factor. And then the fact that your average employee age within the hospitality space is 31 years old. And so with that age range, even if you did offer a health plan and they were eligible for coverage, they're not as likely to enroll because they'd rather spend that monthly amount that would come out of their paycheck on something different. They're trying to make ends meet right now. But as we've kind of looked from the report from the job market, from job list report, we know that job seekers are looking for benefits, and that's one way that you can show value to them. But beyond physical healthcare benefits, we really need to focus on providing access to mental health care benefits as well. As you can see, 17% of hospitality workers have been diagnosed with substance abuse disorder. So we need to address the whole person when we're looking at benefits in general. And virtual care is what's going to offer high quality, convenient access to a wide variety of services. And that's where we've really come together with our partnership with the National Restaurant Association and United Health Group. And we're proud to present to PRLA today the Healthiest You Complete Bundle. Now, this is an employer-sponsored offering where we require just a minimum of 2 employees to enroll in the program. But Healthiest You Complete offers 6 services. Everything is free and unlimited for the employees to use and their families, and we'll get to that here in just a second. But it offers a wide variety of services, everything from preventative with our nutrition and our neck and back care program to our everyday care needs with our general medical service and our specialty care needs with mental health, dermatology, and our expert medical services. So we bundled everything together where there's no copays to use any of the services, and it's $9 per employee per month. And we allow the employee to add in everyone in their household, so spouses, kids, domestic partners, stepchildren, doesn't matter. If they're in the household, they can add them at no additional cost to the benefit. So it's a really affordable opportunity for you to provide a great healthcare benefit without having to fork out the entire cost of a health insurance plan for your employees. And all the services are going to be relatable and relatable and important, obviously, for the employees to have access to. So the pricing, we allow our employers to share the cost of that $9 with the employee, or you can pay the entire premium, whichever you choose. It's worth noting that all of the services are available in English and Spanish. And then I'm going to showcase our mobile app. But in addition to our mobile app, we also have an online member portal and a 24/7 call center. We don't want technology or language to ever be a barrier of accessing the healthcare services that we provide. We often get asked, hey, what are the things that can be treated over the phone? Well, this is a list of the top 50 diagnoses that we treat on a regular basis. You'll see common things like cold, flu, allergies, asthma, and some uncommon items like urinary tract infections and sprains and strains. This list accounts for about 70% of the reasons why people step foot into a doctor's office, and we can handle and offer treatment and diagnosis right over the phone from the comfort of your own home in a matter of minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and actually hop over to a demo. So I'm going to ask just for confirmation from either Eric or Hope when you see my phone screen.
I see it.
Fantastic. Great. So the entry point that members will use to access our services is called Healthiest You. So you'll go to the App Store or the Google Play Store and download our app. Currently, it's rated at 4.7 stars with over 25,000 reviews. So people enjoy the app as well as the healthcare services that are provided through it. When you first log in, you're going to be greeted by your dashboard, and this is where you'll see any upcoming visits that you have. So in my case, I have 2 mental health visits that are upcoming, but where most people are going to start their journey with us is Request a Visit Now button right here in the middle. You're going to notice this is 3/4 of my family because my wife's over the age of 18. She has her own profile, but she has access to all of the services that are included at no additional cost. It's just for HIPAA reasons why she has to have her own profile as an adult. So I'm going to go ahead and select that I need help today, and I'm going to switch all of my examples to the state of Pennsylvania. So it's in real time to what you can expect in your state. So you'll see 4 of the 6 services in the bundle right here with within the Request a Visit Now button. We'll start with general medical. So this is what Teladoc's been doing for the last 19 years. It's the ability to speak to a physician 24/7, 365. And we allow our members to do that via phone or video. So I'm going to go ahead and select a phone visit today. And you'll notice that the current estimated wait time, just because we're right at the lunch hour for Pennsylvania, is between 30 and 60 minutes. So we did 10.6 million consultations in 2020, and our average callback time was 9.8 minutes. And so, it obviously varies based on peak hours. But we allow our members to do an on-demand visit, or you can schedule a visit up to 48 hours in advance. So if you have a break or maybe a day off that you want to schedule a visit for, you can absolutely do that, and we'll have a doctor call you at that time. But if you're ready for an on-demand visit, you can go ahead and hit next. And then we're just going to have the member update their phone number with us. So because our providers are going to be calling them, we want to make sure we have the most accurate phone number. So you have the opportunity to update that right here within the app. And then our doctors will call from a blocked phone number. So it's important that we either email or text notify the member ahead of the call so they don't miss it. Now, we're going to have the member just declare what they're calling in for. So you'll see things like cold, cough, earache, flu symptoms, but maybe you forgot your hypertension medication when you went on vacation. So we can offer an emergency refill of maintenance medications up to 2 times per year. So that's one additional thing that we can offer in those situations that come up. Today, I'm just going to say that I have a cough. It's been ongoing, but if I had a sore throat or maybe pink eye, you can add photos directly to your visit consultation notes, and it'll just help the provider obviously diagnose you properly. So it is worth noting that our app is fully secure and fully HIPAA compliant. We've never had a data breach in our 19-year history. So anything that you upload or any medical information you provide is fully secure. Our doctors do have the ability to prescribe medications if medically necessary. So I'm just going to go ahead and change my zip code to a Harrisburg, Pennsylvania zip code. And you're just going to select the pharmacy that you want our doctor to send the prescription to if it's written. And so then you're going to be greeted by your receipt screen. So all the receipt screens are always going to show a $0 cost. We just have the member confirm one more question before we allow them to schedule their visit. And that's the answer. Where would you have gone if we didn't have access to the virtual healthcare services and Health ECU? We know that a lot of hospitality employees, they don't work the standard 9 to 5 hours that doctors' offices are open. And so they tend to overutilize the urgent care and the emergency room facilities, which are obviously the highest cost facilities out there. And we can handle the majority of the reasons why they'd step foot into those facilities at no cost from the comfort of their home in a fraction of the time. So once you select an answer to that question, you're going to hit a couple consent check boxes and hit confirm, and you'll be in the queue for a doctor to call you in that 30 to 60 minutes. Now, we do offer monthly reporting of how your employees utilize our services because we want to be able to showcase the value and provide you as much detailed information as we can across all of the services that you're providing for your employees. So that is general medical. So I'm going to back up and we'll go into mental health. So as we had mentioned before, obviously mental health, there's been major challenges within the hospitality industry that need to be addressed. And one of the biggest challenges is actually accessing care across the country. So 64% of counties have a provider shortage for mental health, and 55% of counties across the country don't have access to a single psychiatrist. And so we wanted to provide our members with unlimited access to speak to mental health providers. And so I'm going to showcase the list that's available here in the state of Pennsylvania. And so when you see the list, we have over 2,500 therapists across the country and over 500 psychiatrists. And we allow our members to choose the provider that they feel the most comfortable starting a relationship with. So you're going to see, titles like marriage and family therapists, psychologists, clinical social workers, and you can actually filter down based on gender, language, or any one of 44 different specialties. If you're looking to schedule a consultation with a psychiatrist, you just have to toggle this medication support toggle, and that'll only display the psychiatrist within the network. So I'm going to go ahead and just initiate a visit with Randall. He has some availability coming up shortly, and it looks like he has a visit available on Friday at 1 p.m. We know that most people have, most Americans across the country have diagnosable symptoms for depression and anxiety. And so that's been a huge driver for our call volume on our mental health service. But once you schedule your visit, you'll hit continue, and then we're going to have the member complete an emotional health questionnaire just a baseline of questions to help us understand where the member's at emotionally as well as clinically. I do want to bring to your attention question number 11, which is thoughts of actually hurting yourself. If the member selects anything other than none, so even if they select slight, we're going to prompt them with a notification on their device that has the phone number to a suicide hotline. If the member selects, or if they do not reach out to that hotline within 24 hours, the hotline's actually going to reach out to them using the phone number that's in their profile. It's not going to prevent them from scheduling the visit within their, for the provider that they chose, but it's going to provide them an immediate resource in their moment of crisis. So once you hit continue after you finish your emotional health questionnaire, you'll actually be greeted by the same receipt screen showing $0. And then during your very first session with the provider that you chose, you're actually going to schedule out any future consultations with that provider. So you can see the same person, unlimited, whether it's, once a week, twice a month, however often is necessary. And what's great about virtual care is if you didn't make a great connection with the provider that you originally chose, you can always go back to our provider list and choose somebody else and schedule an appointment going forward. So that is mental health. It is worth noting that our mental health service currently is only available for 18 and over. So just, employees, their spouses, and obviously any adult children would be able to utilize that service. The next service would be dermatology, and this is actually my favorite service. So most skin conditions don't require a face-to-face consultation with a dermatologist. So most skin conditions can actually be diagnosed via photo. And so what we have our members do, and I have a 1-year-old with eczema. And so every month I go in here and I select our rash questionnaire, fill out a couple questions, and then I provide 3 high definition photos. And we guarantee that a dermatologist is actually going to review those photos within 48 hours and provide a diagnosis and treatment plan. Every single time I've used that service, which is monthly, I've gotten a response back in less than an hour. And it's typically a call from my pharmacy saying that the hydrocortisone cream that the doctor prescribed is available for pickup at the pharmacy. Now, as a teenager, I was also a kid that had really bad acne. So instead of having to wait 6 to 8 weeks to get into a dermatologist for some prescription acne cream, you can actually go in here, fill out the acne questionnaire, take a couple photos of the acne places or of the acne on the face, jawline, chest, back, wherever it is. And you'll be written a prescription for prescription grade acne creams, as well as medications as necessary. So really great tool for skin conditions. The last service within the request a visit now function is actually our nutrition service. So we know that the food that you put in your body is the best preventative medicine. So we want our members to have access to speak to registered dietitians. And so we have a list of registered dietitians, and you can filter out based on specialty, any specific medical conditions that you have, or maybe you're just looking for general wellness, but you can choose the provider that you'd like to speak with. Now, this particular provider allows phone or video visits, and they have a different scheduling piece than the other, the mental health providers. You're just going to choose 3 dates and times within their availability, and then they'll confirm the date and time that works best for both in the message center back on the dashboard, which I'll show you here in a moment. So I'll hit continue, and then we're just going to have the members fill out our nutrition assessment. So they're going to provide a baseline of all of their vitamins, supplements they're taking, as well as just an overview of their day-to-day meals. And our provider, our dietitian, is actually going to provide the member with a full meal plan for breakfast, lunch, and dinner that's personalized to their any medical conditions that the member has, as well as any goals they have, whether it's weight loss, weight gain, maybe muscle mass increase. A lot of our dietitians are also personal trainers by trade, so they can actually help with exercise regimens in addition to just providing the meal plan options. And because they're registered dietitians, everything is clinically based. So they're going to provide all of the resources from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics that supports the meal plan that they provided the member. And the member can meet with the dietitian as often as necessary. We recommend, though, that they meet with them at a minimum quarterly to make adjustments to their meal plan as they adhere to it. So that is nutrition. Now, the last 2 services are back on the home screen of the dashboard. And so I'm going to back up to there, and we'll talk about expert medical services and neck and back care. So expert medical services starts with a phone number. So Telodoc, we actually acquired an organization back in 2017 called Best Doctors, and it's a network of over 50,000 physicians from around the world that are considered to be the top 3 to 5% of physicians in their subspecialty. And we engage with that network when members come to us with a major diagnosis like cancer. Cancer is misdiagnosed 28% of the time, so it's imperative that people are advocates for their own health and they seek out a medical second opinion. And if you use your insurance, there can be a high cost to actually getting a second opinion. Whereas with our service, we can provide it at no cost from the top tier physicians from around the world. So if you come to us with a major diagnosis like cancer, we're going to collect all of your medical records on your behalf. We're going to retest all pathology, review all imaging, and we're going to pass that data over to a physician within our network that specializes in that diagnosis. 38% of the time, we're going to be improving the member's diagnosis. 79% of the time, we'll be improving their treatment plan. And 95% of members adhere to our recommendations when they get a second opinion from our provider. So though I hope that your employees don't have to use this service because it would indicate that they have a major diagnosis, it's going to be the most impactful to making sure that they have the right answers and the right treatment plan going forward. The last service that we'll talk about is neck and back care. So we partner with a virtual spine care clinic called Telespine, and they provide our members with personalized video-based exercise and stretching plans to help eliminate neck and back pain. When a member comes to us, they're going to be paired with a certified health coach, and they're certified by the American Council on Exercise. They also have a master's degree in orthopedic field and work directly underneath a physical therapist. And so their exercise, their video-based exercise and stretching plans will actually personalize to the member's specific pain. Now, 56% of members indicate improved function after their first treatment plan. 58% indicate a reduction in pain, and they've been able to successfully keep people off of opioid medications because opioids are actually prescribed 80% of the time for neck and back pain issues specifically. So those are all of the services that are included in the $9 per employee per month, and all the household members will get access to those services as well at no additional cost. The last thing that I'll show you, though, because all of the services are free and unlimited to use, the only out-of-pocket expense that members will have outside when it comes to our service is actually going to be with the prescriptions that our physicians write. So we direct our doctors to prescribe generic medications as often as possible, but we provide our members with a discount tool right here in the HealthiestYou app, where they can locate, the cheapest cost for the prescriptions that we write. So in this case, I searched for amoxicillin, an antibiotic, and the Rite Aid that's down the street has the cheapest cost in addition to the CVS that we chose during our visit. So it's $3.99. Here's the information that the pharmacy will need in order to be able to offer that discounted rate for that prescription. So even if our members have insurance, we always tell them to use the service to price out the prescriptions, because 7 out of 10 times it's going to be less expensive than using your health insurance. So those are all of the pieces that are included in the HealthiestYou bundle. I did want to go ahead and take a moment to answer any questions if anything's come up or come through the chat.
Thank you, Nick. That was great. You're right. The demo definitely opens up your eyes to everything that's available through Telodoc. I don't see any questions in the chat, but we will definitely be sharing this deck and everything with the participants that signed up, and your contact information will be there. So I guess I'm offering you up, if you're all right, to have people contact you if they have any questions.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. In fact, actually, I can share my contact info. I'll just take the screen back from you, and let me here's my email address for anybody that wants to take it down. Feel free, and I'm always willing and happy to help.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nick. I really appreciate you taking time to get on our webinar and present this information. I think it is important, very important information.
Awesome. Well, thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
And now I will turn this over to Zak Pyzik to take up the rest of this time to talk about our industry update.
All right, well, thanks, Hope. Appreciate that. And thank you, Nick, for that great presentation. Very informative. Good morning, everyone. Happy Webinar Wednesday. It's really great to be here. It was terrific seeing a lot of you in Pittsburgh and meeting so many of you for the first time at the PRLA annual conference last week. Lots has been happening at all levels. Fall is a really busy time in most legislative bodies. So let's dive right into it. I'm going to start with federal updates, the infrastructure deal, the Build Back Better plan, RRF. So after months of what I think many would describe as excruciating negotiations. President Biden is taking somewhat of a victory lap now that he's passed the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package. President Biden signed that proposal into law on Monday, earlier this week. $600 billion in new federal spending over the next decade on things like roads, rail, ports, water systems, bridges, airports, and broadband. An estimated $18 billion is expected to come to Pennsylvania. Some exciting stuff in this bill for Pennsylvania's tourism industry, specifically in areas like northeastern Pennsylvania. I had some of our members reach out to me to ask, what might this mean for a possible Amtrak rail extension from Scranton to New York City? That's something that area has been craving for a while. Amtrak is set to receive $66 billion as part of this package. And so while the language does not specify exactly where the funding will go, it does seem like there's a chance for a project like that. And so $44 billion is slated to go to the Federal Railroad Administration, which is part of the Department of Transportation, for state grants and various rail projects. $22 billion of that 66 will be used for fleet acquisitions and improvement projects. This is something that we over at PRLA are going to keep a close eye on. Amtrak said this is more funding than they've have received in their 50-year history combined. Could also mean big things for Philadelphia. They are saying that a lot of the spending could go towards transit accessibility and capacity, and also, again, rail extensions. Now, this is obviously, admittedly, just a partial delivery. The Build Back Better plan is still in the works. At this point, it's become branded as a very ambitious social spending bill that's strongly supported by the progressives in DC, but at this point, Biden is trying to bring the centrists into the fold here. And so the House is aiming to pass the Build Back Better plan by the end of this week. The Senate says they want to pass it by Christmas. It's been one of those never-ending battles of which holiday can we get this done by. First, Halloween was the deadline, then Thanksgiving was the deadline, and now Christmas. Unfortunately, RRF funding is likely not going to be addressed in the Build Back Better plan. The good news is that some Democrats are talking about trying to do some sort of small business relief package for these businesses that do still need relief, like our restaurants. The NRA has been driving that conversation. It would likely include other businesses in addition to restaurants like gyms, hair salons. We will continue to fight for RRF replenishment, but unfortunately, there is no clear path forward at this time. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act does have a really big negative in that it terminates the COVID-19 employee retention tax credit, so the ERTC. We got into this a little bit at the last webinar. That will be terminated for the fourth calendar quarter of 2021 in order to raise about $8 billion to offset the infrastructure spending. And so the National Restaurant Association urged the IRS and the Department of Treasury in a letter this week to adopt 3 ERTC objectives to help restaurants. So first is to speed up all ERTC payments, including those from 2020 and the 3 previous quarters for 2021. Second, allow small businesses to defer their fourth quarter federal income tax payments that are due on January 15th, 2022, and to delay that until July 15th, 2022, and then to safeguard all deferred fourth quarter federal income tax payments from any penalties or interest. And so the few items there, RRF, ERTC, that we'll be keeping a close eye on. Next up, Biden's emergency temporary standard, the vaccine and testing mandate. So OSHA published its emergency temporary standard related to vaccine and testing mandates in the workplace a couple of weeks ago. Our national partners have since hosted a few webinars on the subject. If you missed any of those webinars after my presentation, I'm happy to throw those links in the chat. Those webinars will kind of walk you through some of the technical stuff. In general, the ETS would require employers with 100+ employees to mandate vaccines or weekly testing. The future of the ETS remains uncertain. Legal challenges, as expected, have mounted, and it'll likely take several more weeks for a final judicial decision to be reached. Now, we're recommending that restaurants and businesses continue preparing for the ETS to take effect, but to wait to implement that emergency temporary standard policy until the final judicial outcome is certain. We are closely tracking the litigation and we'll keep you fully updated. And so please, if you don't already subscribe to our daily update, we will include updates in that email. A stay halting the ETS was recently granted by the Fifth Circuit, citing grave statutory and constitutional issues. And then similar cases you guys might have seen were filed in the Sixth Circuit, the Seventh Circuit, the Eighth, 11th, and DC circuits. And because multiple petitions for review have been filed in multiple circuits, and there would have been more to come, and so various legal rulings would be expected, they ran a lottery. And so they run the lottery. The rules call for a consolidation of all these petitions into one circuit. And after running that lottery, it was the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals who won that lottery when it took place. And so this is good news for petitioners and opponents, given that the Sixth Circuit is made up of 11 Republican and 5 Democratic appointed judges. So it's expected that all pending cases will be quickly consolidated in the coming days, and the court will issue a nationwide permanent injunction blocking OSHA from implementing the ETS. OSHA stated that it has suspended activities related to the implementation and the enforcement of the mandate pending future developments of litigation. So what should employers do? That's obviously the question we're getting. Many legal experts are recommending that employers prepare to follow the requirements of the ETS while the litigation continues. And it might be tough to find yourself, obviously down the road in a position where you would not be ready for the ETS if it survives these legal challenges. So more to come as we gather more information and what action, if any, the Department of Labor and OSHA may take. It's too soon really to tell if the Supreme Court would be involved, but it would be very likely that it makes its way to the top court there. So some compliance deadlines to kind of be familiar with, and the December 5th one is kind of in question, but the December 5th deadline would require unvaccinated workers would need to adhere to the masking requirements in the workplace. Employers would need to provide up to 4 hours of paid leave for workers to get vaccine shots, and also provide additional leave for workers who need to recover from side effects. January 4th, employers will need to have workers fully vaccinated, and then January 5th for workers who are not vaccinated, that's when the testing requirement will begin. So again, a lot still in the works. There will be a few links that I'm going to throw in the chat that might be helpful on this front. Please stay tuned in our daily update, and we're going to have another webinar, I think, on December 1st. And so hopefully we'll have more updates for you then. So next on the list, I want to cover some state updates. So we'll start with the state of the legislature. The PA House is in session this week. Last night, they had a late night. They took their last vote around 7:30 p.m., 7 p.m. It was one of the later nights that they've had in this 2021 cycle. They are back in session today. They're expecting it to kind of be an early recess this afternoon. The Senate is not in session this week. They return the week of December 13th, and that's the last session week on the calendar right now. PRLA had a legislative dinner last night with members of the PA House Committee on Tourism and Recreational Development. I thought it was a very positive meeting. We discussed many of our tourism priorities, and I'm looking forward to continuing our work with that committee to address some of our tourism priorities moving forward. So I did want to update you all on House Bill 425, which has now become Act 81. Governor Wolf has signed 425 as Act 81 of 2021. It contains language addressing outdoor seating and off-premise catering provisions. Act 81 allows a licensee that goes out of business to sell their liquor or wine to another licensee. It also streamlines the outdoor seating provisions until December of 2024. It allows restaurants and caterers to extend premises within 1,000 feet of the main licensed building up until, again, December 2024, at which time we expect them to revisit the situation. Businesses will need to request this extension, and as long as there are no valid protests, the LCB will grant immediate operating authority to use the outside area while the board processes the request. And so this also eliminates the $500 fee for off-premise catering permits. It allows an unlimited number of permits and eliminates the 5-hour cap for events until December 31st, 2024. And just to clarify, all of those catering provisions, unlimited events, the $500 fee being eliminated, and the 5-hour cap lifted, all sunset December 31st, 2024. Some bills on the move. The BA Senate Labor and Industry Committee last week approved 2 pieces of legislation by a 7-3 vote. The committee approved House Bill 1819, which would provide clarification to the unemployment compensation law that claimants may not take actions to discourage their own hire. It would also require the Department of Labor and Industry to create and update forms that they have that would enable employers to report claimants for these types of activities. That committee also unanimously approved House Bill 1829, which would suspend the requirement for minors seeking work permits to sign that permit in the presence of the issuing officer. And so this would also allow the exam portion of that to be conducted virtually. These are provisions aimed, again, at helping employers address the staffing shortages, because that's what they've been hearing is one of the big problems overwhelming our industry right now. The Commonwealth Court, Judge Christine Cannon last week ruled in favor of parents suing the Wolf administration, declaring the mask order void and unenforceable when it comes to the mask order impacting our schools here in Pennsylvania. The judge said that Acting Secretary Allison Beam did not have the authority to issue a new regulation requiring masks, and that immediately voided the state's mask mandate. Now, Governor Wolf has vowed to appeal that ruling. So again, that's something that we're paying close attention to. Just a quick update on the Tourism Improvement District legislation that we are working on over at PRLA. Please stay tuned. We may have a sponsor for that legislation, and we are hoping to introduce that bill before the end of this year. This is enabling legislation that would allow the tourism improvement districts to be established in counties here in Pennsylvania. So next on the list here is our local updates. So first, outdoor dining. As many of you know, Council Member Alan Dom has introduced 2 bills to make streeteries and sidewalk cafes permanent in Philadelphia. The bills had been assigned to the Streets and Services Committee. There was a hearing in that committee on these bills on November 9th. PRLA and many of our members testified at that hearing. Council decided to extend legislation that allows for sidewalk cafes. So that legislation that is currently in place addressing sidewalk cafes has been extended until December of 2022. So another 14 months for operators here. This gives us time to work with council on a permanent solution moving forward. The good news is that operators have that additional 14 months before having to go through any significant change. Councilmember Dom's legislation that addresses streeteries did pass, but with amendment. So the bill would allow streeteries to operate from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. They could not be in a travel lane or a bike lane. And the amendments also say that you cannot be located, I think it's within 15 feet of a fire hydrant, 20 feet of a crosswalk, and 30 feet from any flashing signal. And so the legislation allows operators to apply by right in most commercial areas of the city, but an amendment adopted does require a council ordinance for specifically carved out areas of the city. And so we're waiting on some data and information from the city to give us more clarity on what those geographical boundaries would be, but please stay tuned on that. There are still a couple of weeks until this bill would pass the committee of the whole. And so PRLA will continue to work with council to make sure that the bill is reasonable and practical for our bars and restaurants in the city. Just a quick reminder while we're talking about outdoor dining regarding propane use for streeteries in Philadelphia. Earlier this year, the city of Philadelphia did announce modifications to the temporary outdoor dining program. One of those changes restricts the use of propane to just the sidewalk only. And so propane is not allowed in the street or parking lane. It's been reported recently that the Philadelphia Streets Department has been out and issuing warnings to operators who are not in compliance. So just wanted to get that on your radar. Next here on the list, third-party delivery fee legislation. Not too much of an update. There are currently temporary fee caps, as many of you know, in place on third-party delivery companies for marketing services and delivery commission in terms of what they can charge restaurants. That is set to end when the public health emergency is lifted, Councilmember Parker has introduced legislation that would make those caps permanent. There's a hearing scheduled on that legislation for November 30th. PRLA will be testifying at that hearing as well. And again, this is a work in progress right now. We're having conversations with Councilmember Parker and her team and some of the third-party companies. And as we work through this, we will do our best to keep everybody updated. Next on my list is the Philadelphia beverage tax. Beginning November 1st, 2021, I just want to remind everyone that taxpayers must use the new Philadelphia Tax Center to file and pay the Philadelphia beverage tax from now on. At this point forward, the old Philadelphia beverage tax site will only direct users to the new site, and the next PBT filing and payment deadline is November 20th, 2021. So that's right around the corner here, and just wanted to make sure that was front of mind for our Philadelphia operators. Next, the liquor tax. Taxpayers previously could also pay the liquor tax online or by mail. As of November 1st, those who pay the liquor tax must file and pay the liquor tax only electronically on the Philadelphia Tax Center site. Continue to pay it monthly. The next due date is November 25th of this year. And you could start filing quarterly returns starting in 2022. So the first filing date for the new schedule is going to be May 2nd, 2022, and that's for the January through March period. Feel free to reach out to PRLA.
Here, right on the right on that corner there. I talked to you for a long time. Yeah.
Personally, if you need any official information on this, and I'll also throw some information in the chat. That might be helpful. And so that's kind of it for our legislative update here over at PRLA. Happy to kind of look in the chat, see if there are any questions. And thank you guys for bearing with me.
Great, Zach. Thanks for giving us that update. There are some questions, so take a look at that. I'll briefly go over some of our upcoming events. We do have a roundtable that is coming up in the Brandywine chapter on November 30th. You can go to our website to register. I know we do have some legislators that are committed to coming. And then starting in January, we will have some installation dinners and events going on through January. Once we have them all set, we will get them out to on our calendar. But our first event will be a webinar with the chairman, Coffee with the Chairman. Tom Neely will get on and talk a little bit about his vision for 2022 and answer some questions about himself and how he got started. And so please join us for that. And then we are going back live for our Pro Start competition in February. So we're very excited. Students are excited. Judges are getting confirmed right now. So more information will be going out about that. It's a great day, and if you can make it up there to see what the students are doing, that'd be wonderful. Next page. And we will be back in December 1st. Zach will be doing another industry update. That may be our last of the year. We're still determining, but please check us out next week. Sorry for the loud car. For his industry update on December 1st. And we are currently still have a fundraiser going on for our Ed Foundation. Please text to donate for the Pennsylvania Restaurant and Lodging Association Ed Foundation. Our Ed Foundation helps with scholarships for students and for our HARP grant. This is a great way to support the neighborhood restaurants, and please, let your customers know about this too. We're just trying to give back this November, and Giving Tuesday will be coming up at the end of this month. So if you have an Amazon account, please attach your Amazon account to our Amazon Smiles account to the EF so that we can get some more donations through your purchases. I already talked about the competition. And training. We definitely have lots of classes still going on for November and December. We will have a full schedule. I will get that up on the website for January, February, March. We'll be marketing this out. Please remember to make sure that you are up to date. They will be checking. They are checking to make sure that you're up to date. So do not hesitate to get training done for your employees. We can do open enrollment classes, or we can try to schedule a private class for you. So please reach out to me with any additional training requests you may have. And I think we're back to you, Zach, to answer some questions.
Okay, thank you, Hope. Let's see, first question here from Bob. The Sixth Circuit Court, the Biden administration will now issue its response to that order in the Sixth Circuit. And he asked, is the Sixth Circuit Court right or left leaning. And so, Bob, just to answer that question, the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, again, is the winner of that lottery. This is good news for petitioners and opponents of the emergency temporary standard, given that that Sixth Circuit Court is made up of 11 Republican and 5 Democratic appointed judges. And so hopefully that answers your questions, but a lot still to kind of be seen on that. Next up here, Allison, would community be able to protest? Yes, I think, Allison, that provision remains the same there in what was signed as Act 81 of 2021, where, after application, there still is an opportunity for protest. Allison, I apologize on the second question. I am not 100% certain, so I'm going to look into this for you to double check, but I do not think that provision made its way into the final version of the House Bill 425 that Governor Wolf signed, but I will double check that for you. And I wrote your name down here, and I could get back to you sometime later today on that. But again, I do not think that provision made its way into House Bill 425. But yes, the protest provision remains the same. And again, on the Sixth Circuit Court stuff, a lot of moving pieces there and things still in the works, but PRLA and our national partners, AHLA, the NRA, we're all paying very close attention to that. And so please, if you don't subscribe to our daily update, consider doing so. I think you can see instructions on the screen now for that. And as soon as we get an update or hear anything about the ETS, we'll be sure to include that in the daily update. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. We appreciate you getting on the call. We hope you all have a great holiday with your families next week. Please subscribe to our daily update. We will keep you up to date each day at the end of the day with what's going on, and we'll be back on December 1st. And as always, reach out to any staff members if you have questions. Our emails are up on our website, but I'm sure you all know them by now too. So thank you, Zach. Great job. And I think we are out.